Tailgaters. You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. We're going to be previewing, predicting another Week 0 matchup, and this time it's the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hey, this is the game that both these teams played last year in Hawaii. We'll talk about how that game went in just a little bit. This one slated to be played in Nashville, Tennessee, the home of the Vanderbilt Commodores this year. Hey, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel this past summer. Let's continue to see that support and growth of the channel into the college football season. I post videos, community posts about the season all season long. So if you guys want to hear my thoughts, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you can stay up to date on all of my thoughts and opinions. But there are more ways than that to help me support my channel. Hey, you're doing one right now by watching the video. You guys can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, anything else you guys may be willing and able to do to help me support my channel. Again, as I said, these are two teams that played in a Week 0 matchup last year. And while the Rainbow Warriors got off to a hot start, it did not end so swell for the team in green, as Vanderbilt was able to completely take over, absolutely emerge last year, and Vanderbilt ended up going on to a blowout win. So Hawaii looking for a little bit of redemption, but these are both teams looking to trend upwards in their respective conferences. So let's go ahead and take a look at some statistics here from last season. Again, these are the 2022 statistics. I'll be talking about some new pieces that both of these teams have as well. Ready? All right, here we go. We're going to start out with the Hawaii offense, and I mean, taking a look, this is just an offense that's going to have to improve in a lot of areas. I'd like them to take care of the football a little bit better, first and foremost. 20 turnovers. Again, it is not a super huge number, but definitely that is a lot of turnovers for an offensive to have in one season. You'd like to see them score the ball more, not even 20 points per game last year. You got to get more yards, not even 350 yards per game. And at times, even really struggled on third down. Not even 35% on third down conversion rate last season. They did have their moments where they were able to prevent opposing defense from getting into the backfield. Only 1.5 sacks allowed per game, but some of those sacks are very costly. You do get Braden Shager back. Tylan Hines is a very good weapon in the running back room. He returns. Jonah Panote comes back as a wide receiver, as does Mokayo Atimalala. Stephen McBride is transferring in as a wide receiver piece for this team as well. So there is a lot of good talent still littered throughout this wide receiver room. Again, I think Tylan Hines, pretty solid option. Braden Shager, a pretty solid quarterback, but there is a lot that has to improve. Again, it starts out too with an offensive line that does have a lot of seniors coming back. So definitely going to be an interesting offense to watch for the Rainbow Warriors this year. But now when we talk about the Rainbow Warriors defense, well, this is where my confidence in Hawaii just starts to dip. I do think the offense will be better, but the defense, I do have my questions. They allowed almost 35 points per game, over 430 yards per game, over 200 yards per game on the ground. That has to get better. They did not force turnovers. They did not generate a ton of pressure to opposing quarterbacks. There's just pretty much a lot, if not everything, that's going to have to change about this Rainbow Warrior defense. Now, while you do have your fair share of returners and some pretty solid ones at that, Verdell Edwards at corner, Logan Taylor, Isaiah Tufaga, both of them linebackers. You have a redshirt senior, Kahaha Y. Welch, Jonah coming back as a defensive end, but you have 3 new transfers coming in on the defensive line that are projected to start, and 2 that are projected to start out of the secondary as well. So there are a lot of new pieces that are going to have to gel pretty soon here against a Vanderbilt team that, again, these stats are pretty comparable with the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors from last season. But when you take a look at the offensive end, did score a little bit more points per game, but right around the same yard marker, didn't even reach the 350 mark. Again, this is a team that plays in the SEC, so you can take that into account as well. But because they did a good job for the most part of limiting turnovers, again, every team is going to have their day where they just can't seem to hold on to the football. And again, for the most part, this is the team that did a pretty good job at not letting opposing defenses get back to the quarterback. And speaking of which, you do have a new one at the quarterback position this year. His name is A.J. Swan. The true freshman comes back to this program after a couple quarterbacks left, transferred out, most notably Mike Wright, I believe is that name. So A.J. Swan has taken over the offense. He does have some good weapons to work with in the wide receiver, and Will Shepard is a senior coming back. Quincy Skinner, Jaden McGowan all come back. You got a couple freshmen back there that you should be pretty excited about if you are a Commodore fan, but a freshman that you should be even more excited about is the one that you see at the running back position. Cedric Alexander right now is that #1 running back according to ourlads.com. You got another young guy by the name of Chase Gillespie back there, Patrick Smith. Again, Rocco Griffin transferred out, so that's kind of where the Vanderbilt offense lies. I think it should still be a fairly solid unit. Maybe you see a little bit of growth from last season, or maybe you stay quite around the same rate. And speaking of taking a look at that sack number there as well, that is a number that, well, might stay the same. You do have a lot of graduates, a lot of seniors on the offensive line as well. So now let's take a look at this Vanderbilt defense. And, well, while the offense did a good job at limiting sacks, the defense did not do a very good job at generating sacks. They didn't do a very good job at forcing turnovers. This team had a flat, even turnover margin. It's a team that allowed a lot of points, a lot of yards, and definitely can improve in many different ways. And while they are very young on the defensive front, according to ourlads.com, 2 sophomores and a junior projected to start, you do have a lot of graduates that are 2 or 3 deep for this team. In that position, Anias DeCosmo is a transfer linebacker coming in. You have another guy named Kane Patterson that is still there, and a ton of experience that is going to be in this secondary for the Vanderbilt Commodores. So at very least, I expect that pass defense to improve from 290.5 yards per game last season. But overall, this definitely is a Vanderbilt team that is built with some experience, and based on what this team did last season, definitely has a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to improve, and some expectations to even do that as well. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at what I like to call kind of like the keys to the game. This is my what to watch for, kind of some things just to keep in mind while you are watching this game, and things that I think are going to take place when you tune into this one this Saturday. First and foremost, Braden Shager is going to get more reps. This Hawaii offense starts out with the run game. It's going to start out with Tylan Hines and have him set the tone. But Braden Shager is going to get his fair share of opportunities. Don't be surprised if he even takes some deep shots down the field as well. But in order to do that, well, the offensive line is going to need to limit pressure. And not even that, the offensive line is also going to have to set the tone for this game. The offensive line is going to have to create some room for Tylan Hines to work, and it's going to need to protect Shager to be able to take those deep shots down the field that definitely are going to be able to beat this Vanderbilt secondary if nothing has changed from last year. Again, it was a Vanderbilt secondary that gave up a lot of pass yards last year. Braden Shager can take advantage of that, but he needs his offensive line to help him out. The one thing, though, again, that I am concerned with about Hawaii is the defense. You got 5 new pieces, transfers that are projected to start that you need to fit in very early. How do those pieces gel? How do those guys fit in with this Timmy Chang system? That is definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch as you are tuning into this game. For the Vanderbilt Commodores, however, well, the ground game worked last year. It worked wonders last year. And even though Rocco Griffin is gone, hey, there are a lot of options back there. Continue to ground and pound against this Hawaii team that, again, has a lot of change going on in that defensive front, and the pass game is going to work itself in. Expect A.J. Swan maybe to not take some deep shots, but be able to be efficient. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Look for A.J. Swan to be efficient. He's got some good weapons. He'll be able to work them in. Bring the heat to Shager. Get pressure on him. Get this offensive line for Hawaii on their heels. Bring Braden Shager down. If you can bring pressure to Shager, you're also going to be able to slow down this run game as well. And then I just have a question for Vanderbilt. Will the Commodores be able to take another big step this year? I definitely think this is a game, as we take a look now at the line and odds, a game that Vanderbilt should be able to win. This is a 7:30 game, Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on the SEC Network. It's a game I do see Vanderbilt winning, but how much improvement does Vanderbilt make, right? How many steps in the right direction has Vanderbilt taken? The line right now is 17.5. Again, I'm just not confident in what the Rainbow Warriors have this season. I think Vanderbilt is going to walk away with maybe not as bad of a blowout win as they had last season, but this year, another blowout win. I do think Vanderbilt is too talented. They got a really experienced secondary. I definitely expect that to be better. I think the offense is going to be able to roll here against the Hawaii defense that may not have everything figured out by this point. So Vanderbilt wins 41-16. The over under 55.5, I do think slightly over is where I lean on that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your thoughts on this game in the comment section down below. And hey, as always, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.